do it to protect you. So you understand?
I understand.
How's it going, everybody? Today I'm reviewing the new film in the Star Wars saga, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, our first of the spin-offs, our anthology series as they used to call it, taking place just before the events of A New Hope, where we meet our hero Jyn Erso, played by Felicity Jones. She and another group of rebels need to go and steal the Death Star plans, which we learned about in the opening crawl for Star Wars A New Hope. So I think this was probably my most anticipated movie of the year, if I remember correctly. I believe it had as number one on my most anticipated from last year because I love The Force Awakens, and I was super pumped for this one. I was hearing some good early things, but some other people didn't like it as much, so I was like, okay, check your expectations at the door, check them, and let's go into this one with some fresh set of eyes. And I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I don't know if I like it more than The Force Awakens. It's tough for me to say, but I loved it. I had a great time with this one. There is some negatives here and there, which I'll get into, but overall, had quite the enjoyable time watching this movie. Let's start with the cast and everybody playing their role. Felicity Jones was great as Jyn Erso. Also, just another little pretext, though. If you're into it and you want to learn more about the story, kind of going into it, I highly recommend you read Star Wars Catalyst. It's a book that leads into the events of Rogue One, which I believe heightens the experience of this movie because you learn a lot about Jyn's father, Galen Erso, and her mom, Lyra, as well as the villain in this movie, director Orson Krennic. You learn a lot about them and their backstory, and I think it pays off quite well in the movie, especially for the beginning half of the movie, because you get to learn a lot about those characters and kind of their motivations and backgrounds with each other. With that out of the way, though, the rest of the team is great. Riz Ahmed was great as Bodhi. He was awesome. I enjoyed him. I think my favorite, though, was Donnie Yen's character. I can't quite remember his name, unfortunately, but he was awesome just to watch. He's kind of that badass sidekick guy that just kicks ass. He was amazing. But one of the standouts, as a lot of people have been saying, is K2SO. He was awesome. The droid, he's so sarcastic, and just it was awesome. Just his interactions with Diego Luna, who also was great and had one of the more, I guess you could say, powerful arcs in the movie, other than Jyn Erso's, of course. But those two were both the most well-developed characters, and you fall in love with these characters, and I think Diego Luna, Felicity Jones, Alan Tudyk as K2SO all did a fantastic job. Which kind of leads to a negative, is that the character development of some of the side characters and everything, there's not much of it. It's there for a little bit, but you don't get a ton of it. I think you could have done more. I can't even remember the guy's name. It was Donnie Yen's buddy, basically. I can't quite remember his name. But he's just kind of like, hey, he's my sidekick friend, and I'm a badass, cool guy. And I think there could have been a little bit more development there. I think you had time to do it as well, because I think at the beginning there is some lulls throughout it, through the first act or so. But that's not to say I didn't like it. It was like a better Suicide Squad, because you get all these people coming together to join it up and do a task. It's similar to the Suicide Squad kind of plot premise, but I think they executed a lot better in this movie. The visuals in this movie are fantastic. It has one of the best space battles I think you will ever see in a Star Wars film. It's fantastic. You got X-Wing and TIE fighters flying everywhere. It's great seeing all those little callbacks. And speaking of callbacks, there's some great Easter eggs if you're looking for them. If you watch any, like the animated shows from like Star Wars Rebels or Clone Wars, there's some cool little nods in there that you might catch on. If you watch some of the films, you might hear a name or two in the background. Just be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna look for it more on my second viewing. But there's a couple cool Easter eggs in there. Couple cool things will show up in the movie that will excite some fans, I believe, and it's exciting. Also, another little note to put in there: if you're going into this movie expecting Vader, don't. Just check that at the door. He's in the movie, as we see in the trailers, but he's not like the main presence bad guy in the movie. Okay, that's not to say he doesn't have some good scenes. There are some good scenes, I will say that, but Vader's not in the movie for a lot at all, really. And this movie did promise us a war film, and that's what it delivered on. I thought it was way more geared towards adults. There's less humor. That was one of the things I noticed coming out of it. I was like, I laughed a lot more in The Force Awakens than I did in Rogue One. I think that's why The Force Awakens might have a broader appeal, and I think this one might not appeal to everybody. But if you're in for a war film, then that's what you're gonna get. I mean, it's not like rated R war or anything like that, but like it's how far as you can go pretty much with PG-13, and you're shooting blasters instead of like actual machine guns or anything like that. So it delivers on the war tone. It's exciting at parts. There's some crazy battle scenes, and especially the third act. And you leave the theater. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you leave the theater feeling jacked up and ready to put in A New Hope. Like, that's what I want to watch right now. I don't even want to do this review. I want to watch A New Hope because I think it's almost like the new prequel. You don't necessarily need to watch all the other prequels now. This can be your new one. Just slip in there and watch Rogue One, and then go on to the original trilogy and on to The Force Awakens. I love this movie. I'll keep it spoiler free, like I said. So, yeah, I wish I could talk more about some cool things that happen in the movie, but I can't, unfortunately. I'll give you my score, though. As for my movie rating, since I had those negatives at the beginning, I'm going to give it a movie rating of an 8.5 out of 10. I think, like I said, more character development, kind of knocked down a little bit, and a little slow pace-wise throughout the beginning. But, like, it picks up steam about halfway through the film and just continues going. And, like I said, you leave the movie feeling jacked up. So that's why I'm going to give my enjoyment rating, though, a 9.5 out of 10, because I loved this. I loved it, enjoyment-wise. And I'm going to, like I said, watch it again Thursday night showing. Super excited to watch it again. And again, to watch A New Hope as well. And watch this original trilogy, because I think it does enhance the original trilogy just a little bit more, man. It's exciting. It's an exciting movie to have, and I think they knocked it out of the park with Rogue One. And I'm excited to see what they do going forward with these anthology spin-off films when you have the Han Solo film coming out in like 2 years' time. So, or not quite. I think it's like a year and a half. I think it comes out in May. They might move it to December, though, but who knows. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos each and every week. That is it, and I will talk to y'all later.